Okay, so now just the last bit of this lecture. We're talking about the Great Southern Australian Coastal Upwelling System and just some recent evidence of another upwelling center located on the west coast of Tasmania. And so where this discovery comes from is just looking at weather patterns. So like the one that's shown here on the top left. Again, it's atmospheric pressure contours, and you can see that there's an indication that you actually have strong winds blowing along the west coast of Australia. And you might recall that you need to have an Ekman transport away from the coast to the left relative to the wind direction. So that all works out. And you can work out, or you can calculate an upwelling index. So again, you get some wind data from the Bureau of Meteorology, and this one is Cape Grim data. There's a weather station there. And I'd show you a time series here of it's almost 10 years. It starts 1st January 2005. Okay? And again, you can see every year, you can see the years, and you can see that in around January, February, March, you create the right winds. So the winds are there that can potentially produce upwelling. It doesn't mean that there has to be upwelling, but the potential is there, right? So let's have a more look. So it is not easy to see upwelling, to identify upwelling events in this area, on the west coast of Tasmania. And I'd give you the reasons. One reason is that the water that turns up at the surface, the temperature is not too different from the temperature that you see just a little bit further to the south. And this is just shown here over my head, a sea surface temperature for the 4th of January 2000. And you can, let's see, the mouse is working. No, the mouse is working now. You can see there is a darker blue color appearing here, so it's a lower temperature, but the temperature is similar to what you see in the Southern Ocean. Very hard to spot from sea surface temperature, but also ocean color. The chlorophyll A content is relatively tricky to interpret, and I'll tell you why in a second. But you can see there is an indication of elevated chlorophyll A levels. The problem with that area is you get high amounts of river outflow. Okay? And the sediments contained in rivers can give you fake signals, something that looks like plankton, but is indeed sediment, or something we call Gelbstoff. Okay? Something that the satellite interprets as chlorophyll A, but it is not. So it's really tricky to really derive the plankton signal for that area. So, all right, the summary. Southern Australia hosts a large seasonal coastal upwelling system. Synoptic weather patterns create 2 to 3 full upwelling events per summer system. This upwelling is a key nutrient source in the Southern Ocean and around Australia. We're talking about a key nutrient source. Okay, so exam relevance. So what I did is I just applied your knowledge, what you have learned in the previous lecture on upwelling in the oceans, and you learned a little bit more about your marine environment here in Australia. So thanks for tuning in. Do you have any questions?